It's election day for millions of Americans voting in local and state elections. Here are just some of the races we're watching. Two incumbent governors are defending their seats. Mississippi's Republican governor is in a close race to secure a second term, and Kentucky's Democratic governor is fending off a challenge from a Trump-backed state attorney general. Meanwhile, Virginia Republicans are looking to take full control of the state legislature. And abortion is on the ballot in Ohio. In addition to the policy implications of that, the outcome is being closely watched by both parties to determine how it might shape the races next year. Jericka Duncan is reporting from Columbus.
Abortion rights supporters rallied this afternoon in a last-minute effort to get voters to the polls. We spoke to voters in a district that traditionally leans Democratic.
I remember what illegal abortions are like. They're not good. I'd rather have women have a choice.
I think it's important as women to keep, fighting for our rights.
The proposed amendment, called Issue 1, would guarantee a woman's right in Ohio to an abortion. It would allow the procedure up until fetal viability, usually around the 23rd week, according to doctors. Exceptions beyond that point would be permitted if a physician determines an abortion is necessary for the health or life of the mother.
Under this amendment, any kind of abortion is going to be fine. This is too extreme for Ohio.
Ohio's Republican Governor Mike DeWine calls the amendment radical and says it will allow abortion at any point during pregnancy.
The majority of Ohioans do not believe that abortion should be allowed at any point.
DeWine signed a 6-week abortion ban into law in 2019 that is currently on hold in the courts. Amy Natosi, a spokesperson with Protect Women Ohio, is against Issue 1.
We're stripping ability away from the legislature to go forward and pass protections for women and the unborn.
While Ohio is the only state with abortion on the ballot today, key races in Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Kentucky could impact the future of abortion access in those states.
In Virginia, all 140 General Assembly seats are up for grabs, with Republicans pushing for a 15-week abortion ban.
And Jerica Duncan joins us now. Jerica, what more did the governor say in your conversation that might interest us?
So when he talks about this idea that he believes pregnancy could get up to 9 months and someone could have an abortion, he said that information comes from scholars who look at that keyword health, not just the life of the mother, but the health, he said, could mean mental, emotional, or he said even their economic state. These are his words, and he said that this is based off of constitutional scholars. This is why he believes that this goes too far. Obviously, where we are today, this is the Ohioans United for Reproductive Rights watch rally, if you will. This is where they will be watching from, but they believe that this really comes down to securing and making sure that women in this state have a legal right. The reason why they're so adamant about this, John, is because in 2019, the governor here passed a heartbeat bill, 6-week ban on abortion. It did not include incest or rape. So abortion rights supporters fear that if this amendment does not pass, they think that that law, which is tied up right now in the courts, would then become law and restrict access to women who want to have an abortion.
So now, Jerica, help us understand, walk us through what happens then after this vote. You've explained what might happen if it fails, or the concerns of abortion rights groups if it fails. What happens if it passes? How do these details get worked out?
Right. So if it passes, according to the ballot and what the voters looked at today, this would take effect within 30 days. If this is defeated, which is what the governor, the Republican governor, is hoping for, then it becomes focusing on that 6-week abortion ban, which again is held up in the courts and could take months before it's decided, because currently in the state of Ohio, abortions are legal. There is no prerequisite, if you will, other than the viability, which, as mentioned in that package, is somewhere between 20 and 22, 23 weeks, according to doctors. So if this measure, again, passes, then this amendment is added to the state constitution and takes effect within 30 days. But again, if it is defeated, as the governor hopes it will be, then the focus will be on that 6-week ban. One of the significant things that he has said in the last few days is that he would now consider rape and incest because he realizes, he said after talking to constituents and voters, that that is something that is important to Ohioans. John?
Jericka Duncan in Columbus, Ohio. Thanks so much, Jericka.